Hello, everyone. My name is Iron Will, and my talk is called The Power of a Book. In 400 AD, a young man named Patrick went on a little trip to a place called Ireland. Now, you might realize right away, I'm talking about St. Patrick. And while there are legends and stories about St. Patrick, the one thing we know he did is that he taught his faith, his beliefs to the Irish. Now, this is really important because of what comes later. But let's learn a little bit about the Irish. They were poets, they were storytellers, they wrote and sang songs, they created beautiful artwork, stuff that lasts today in stone and in other materials. And we have examples and duplication of that beautiful work all throughout our world. Well, the Celts embraced this faith, and with that came an expression of their faith in the different ways that they created their art. Well, 400 years after Patrick had been to the Emerald Isle and cast out the snakes and converted the Irish to Catholicism, a small abbey on the coast of Scotland was being attacked by the Vikings. As you might remember from history, this is one of the time periods where the Vikings were very prolific in raiding the coasts of Europe. And it didn't matter what island or nation you were part of, they were coming and they were raiding. And so the monks of Iona, the abbey there, they fled and they went off to Ireland. But they had started something. They'd started copying a document, a book, and they'd started creating something new. And when they got to Ireland, the Irish took this text. I should say the Irish monks received the other monks. They worked together, they collaborated. And out of this came the Book of Kells. Now, you might not have heard this. Maybe you saw the animated film and love it like I do. Or maybe this is all new to you. An illuminated text is a beautiful piece of artwork that was created after 800 AD or between 800 AD and when they started to be able to create printing presses later, somewhere between 13 and 1400s. And the important point is that this work, this artwork that was created, not only preserved the Bible, but it preserved other documents, texts, and manuscripts. Because what they were doing was creating beautiful works of art bound in books. And they had capital letters that had detailed in them. They had pages that some of them had gold leaf, and they had intricate designs of Celtic symbols, of faith, of some of the fairies and other creatures that the Irish believed in, as well as their Christian belief symbols were in there too. And this Book of Kells was so beautiful that it inspired the monks in Ireland. And they took that knowledge and experience with them across Europe, moving first to the United Kingdom or England at the time, and then on from there. And because they created this beautiful work of art, it inspired other monks and other monasteries across Europe to do the same thing. And so we have hundreds of texts of these illuminated manuscripts where knowledge was preserved. And I got to tell you what, they are so beautiful. And the Book of Kells is such an amazing example of it that it's preserved in Dublin at at Trinity College, I believe it is. Oh man, I could be wrong. I didn't make a note on that one. However, it's preserved, and you can actually go to Dublin and see it. They have it open, and you can go and look at it. But you can also get online and Google what these documents look like, these books look like. I'm just going to let you know right now that they don't do them justice. You're not going to be able to see the light glint off the gold leaf. You're not going to see how beautiful they are in person. And in creating this and starting this trend, the European monks preserved knowledge. In fact, one of the things that inspired me to talk about this was a book called How the Irish Saved Civilization. And it's the story of the Book of Kells and how that preservation technique of copying that text became an art form and crossed Europe. Now, in 1450, another man came along, and his name was Johann Gutenberg. And some of you are thinking, "Oh, I know where you're going." Great, because Gutenberg created the movable type, um, first movable type printer, where they had lined the words up letter by letter, and this cut down the cost of printing things because before they would take and they would carve the document in reverse on a piece of wood or a block of some kind, and then they would print using that. Could you imagine making a spelling error on something like that halfway through it? Oh, you have to recarve the whole thing. Here's the great part is that movable type revolutionized books. And one of the amazing things that happened is that Gutenberg printed a Bible. And the Gutenberg Bible started to flow out of his print shop. And people were hungry for the knowledge. They wanted to read it, they wanted to learn. And books went from being a slim, precious commodity to starting to flow, where book can be picked up now today anywhere. You can get people to read books to you through an audio. You can read a digital version of a book. You can get you can get physical books. The thing is that those first years and events preserve knowledge for us. And today, one of the best cheat codes in life is a book because you can not only get a book and read through it and make notes and argue with the author, you're able to go back and read it again. And what I love about this is that it allows you and I to revisit material and see how we've changed. Many years ago, I heard this statement: you can never step into the same river twice. And I was perplexed. I didn't understand this. I was like, but if I cross that river 4 or 5 times in a row, I'm like the same spot. No, no, no. The water's different. The water's moved on. And so when we pick up a book and read it for the second or third time, we're different. We're going to learn new things from that material. Now I'm getting ahead of myself. So let me go back to 1989. I started in a new school, in a new school district, in a new country. It was my ninth grade year, and I was attending an Army school or a DoD school in Germany. And as it happens to be, a young man saw me sitting there and sat down and introduced himself. And we became friends. And sometime that fall, he handed me a book. It was called The Dragonlance Chronicles. Some of you may have heard of it, some of you may have not. It's a combination of 3 novels that are in the fantasy genre. And why this book is important is because to me, this is the book that got me reading again. This is the book that got me turning pages when I wasn't reading. And I went on to read not only that book, but dozens and dozens of other novels. And then one day, I got a copy of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And I went, oh, there's some things I need to change in my life because I don't have very good relationships. So I read that book. Well, actually, I read that book and then I realized I need to make changes. And I made changes. But the point is this, is that first book, those Dragonlance Chronicles, started a habit, which I've continued to this day. And I will tell you that when I was commuting into the city, that being able to put an audio book in on the metro was a lifesaver. But what has become a bigger lifesaver is the knowledge I've gained from the books that I've read. From those first fantasy novels, I learned about courage and heroism. I learned about faith and trust. I learned about friendship and how to be a better friend. And then as I got older, I picked up other books and I read about them. I read in them and I learned new things because reading is how I install and you install new software. It gets our juices flowing. It helps us to think and to ponder and consider. And that is a great gift because books are the ultimate cheat code to life. When you can take somebody's entire life experience and read it in 5 or 6 hours, 9 or 10 hours, whatever the case may be, then you're able to take from their examples and learn how to be a little bit better in some area of your life. One of my favorite books of all times is The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. And this novel has inspired me for decades. In fact, I recently just finished reading it because I saw the new French film that came out. It's a pretty good rendition, but it wasn't the same as listening to Edmund's story, turned from a story of revenge and retribution to a story of forgiveness and renewal. And I love the self mastery that he displays in that book, the courage that he displays. Now, he's a fictional guy, but I learned those things from him. I learned those stories from him. Now, going back to the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, one of the things that I heard after reading that book and reading other leadership and business books is that readers are leaders. And I hear this regularly, especially in the circle of businessmen and women that I work in and participate in. There are book clubs that you can join all over the place, many probably in your local community, where you're going to be able to really meet with a group of like minded people and learn from them. And I hope you do. Now, you're thinking, why are you talking about all these books? Because what I'm hoping will happen is that you will pick up another book and read, whether it's one of the top 5 books or I call them the top 5, but you've got Magic of Thinking Big. You've got How to Raise Myself from Failure to Success in Selling. Excuse me. You've got Personality Plus, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and How to Have Confidence and Power in Dealing with People. These 5 books have lasted decades. And I believe that How to Win Friends and Influence People is over 100 years old now at this point. Here's the thing. These top books are often shared in those circles of leadership and business mentors or with leadership and business mentors. And those books have taught me many things. David Schwartz, The Magic of Thinking Big, taught me to expand my horizons and look out for something bigger that I might want to create for my life instead of just being the guy that I was. How to Win Friends and Influence People has taught me how to work on relationships, taught me how to care about other people and to invest in them. Lawrence Littauer's book on Personality Plus has taught me who I am, what my base personality is. And it's taught me how to understand other people and to ask myself, are they doing this because they're being mean? Because they're being nice? Are they doing this because this is their personality and this is just the way that they're wired? But it's helped me ask those questions of myself instead of coming down and making a hard judgment about somebody. It's allowed me to wonder, maybe I just need to work on the relationship. You know, Abraham Lincoln once said, I don't like that guy. I need to get to know him better. And that has those books, those things have expanded my horizons and the horizons of thousands and millions of other people who have read them. How to Raise Myself from Failure to Success in Selling by Frank Betcher is a book about how a major league, what we would call a major league baseball player, has gone on to become a top insurance salesman, creating a completely new life for himself. And I promise you, just because he was good at baseball did make him good at sales. And you might be thinking, well, Will, why would I want to read a sales book? Because sales is also about relationships. And the power of that book has helped me understand some things that I needed to change and how I communicate with people when I coach, mentor, and even when I'm in the sales process. And then how to have confidence and power in dealing with people taught me how to be confident in my own abilities, to accept the knowledge that I have, and then be sure of myself. Because really, it can be hard to work with people and understand people. People are complicated beings, you and I. And the power of a book, especially great books, can elevate our thinking, not only about ourselves, but about other people. It can elevate our belief in mankind. It can also elevate our heart and grow it. So that way we can be more open to understanding other people. Now, books come, books go. In fact, I have a shelf right over here. It's about 2.5 feet of books that are waiting to be read. I have a stack on my desk right over here of books that I've read or that I'm going to read soon because I love what they've done for me in my life. And it started with a friend handing me a book. So let me ask you, how many of you got started reading because you got a book from a mentor, a business partner, a friend? How many of you have had your lives changed because of a book? I hope it's all of you. I hope each and every one of you have had not only one book that's changed your life, but a handful or a dozen, because they can be so powerful in our lives. Uh, Ralph Waldo Emerson said, many times the reading of a book has made the future of a man or a woman. It doesn't matter to me how you want to look at it, because in my context, man and mankind covers both. It's, what can I say? It's one of the old school things I do, is what I refer to people as man or mankind. But that's the thing. This knowledge has been preserved. And we've had thousands of years of knowledge preserved because of books. Oh, scrolls or clay tablets or sheepskin, different things. All of it has preserved knowledge. And it's been passed down. The writings of Marcus Aurelius, that from what we understand was just his personal journal, are now inspiring people, or should I say, have been inspiring people since they were rediscovered. Your own journals, if you write journals, may be something that inspires someone one day. Maybe a husband or a wife, maybe a child, a grandchild. I just hope that I can convey to you the importance of taking 10, 15, 30 minutes a day in reading, investing in yourself. Ben Franklin said that when you pour your wallet into your head, no one can steal it from you. And knowledge is a great investment. And having books today, thousands of books today, hundreds of books, I couldn't even tell you, probably thousands of books today that teach us, that lift us, that inspire us. It is such a great blessing in our lives if we tap into it, if we pick up that next book. And I'll be honest with you, all I hope is that you pick up the next leadership or business book to help you and your business grow, to help you and your business gain a little bit more of an edge by improving yourself. Sir Francis Bacon said that some books are to be tasted, others to be swallowed, and some few to be chewed and digested. That means that sometimes a book is something we come back to. Sometimes we just fly right through it. A lot of the novels I listen to today, though, I read, see, I do on Audible because I'm not going to go back and reference something and look something up. But when it comes to leadership and business books, oh, I like to have the Kindle or the paper version because I make notes. I argue in the margins with the author, I cross words out, write my own in because they're not perfect. And I believe that while there's great knowledge in them, that some things won't apply to me. And sometimes it might also be wrong, especially if they're giving just their opinion. And I've run into a couple guys who like to put their opinion on dietary codes or certain exercise codes. And that's okay because I'm not mad at them because they've given me a ton of knowledge, give me a ton of information that I can use and apply. Now, some of you might be thinking, oh, Will, but time. I know time is precious. Time is precious. And we each get to decide how we use that time. My hope is that you will use that time to invest in yourself. 15, 30 minutes a day reading a book. And I'll be honest with you, one of my friends said when he got started reading, and he would fall asleep. And his mentor said, well, then stand up and walk around when you read. And so he did. He would get up, and Dean would get his book, and he'd set the timer for 15 minutes. And then he would just walk around his living room or his bedroom or wherever he was reading and read his book because it was really hard to fall asleep standing up. I am inviting you to take action today. And if you don't have a book you're working on, to pick up two. Pick up two and take that and just read it little by little. And if you're not a great reader, man, just start with 1 page a day, 2 pages a day. I hope and pray that you will start, that you will learn to love books. Maybe not as much as I, but enough to change your future, to make it fantastic in every way you can believe you can make it. Because there is magic in thinking big. Thank you very much. Hope you guys enjoy all of the talks this weekend. And thank you to Jamie for putting this together and giving us a platform to share the things that we have learned and that we love. With that, have a great time.